Hey everyone. So, there's gonna be background noise because I'm not turning a fucking fan off. It's too hot. I just recorded V's Talks and I had the fan off and it was the worst thing ever. So, yeah. So, I have a lot to talk about in terms of videos because this has been almost a year since the last time I did one of these. I first want to talk about Fallout 4 because I never did. And I have things I think about it, especially with DLCs and stuff out, and I think in terms of the world, it's the strongest that Bethesda has made. In terms of the story, it is the single weakest thing that I have seen come out of that company so far. And I think it's weaker than fucking Brink, honestly. I think the story in Fallout 4 is a fucking joke. And I adore a lot of the characters, but I could go forever without having had that story. Not even getting into the forced hetero relationship, forced being a cis character and having a child. I gave no shits about that kid or my imaginary husband that wasn't real. Like, I gave no fucks about any of that. Because I didn't want any of that. I gave way more of a shit about characters like Deacon and Piper and Curie and all of them. Like Nick, I fucking love all of the companion characters. I love a lot of the side characters. Like, I love everyone in the railroad and stuff. I love most of the people in the Minutemen and stuff like that. I hated the Brotherhood in this. They went back to the shitty Brotherhood, and I hated them back then too. Like, Fallout 3's Brotherhood was great. New Vegas' Brotherhood was just, they were just scared babbies. Like, but the Brotherhood that wants to help people, that's awesome and really, really nice to, like, be able to play and be a part of. And then this Brotherhood was just dicks. Like, it wasn't, they were almost as bad as Caesar's Legion, like, in terms of, like, their portrayal in this. And I'm not saying Caesar's Legion was badly portrayed, I'm saying they were shitty people. And I feel the same way about the fucking Brotherhood in this. Like, I feel the Brotherhood is worse than the Institute, and I blew the Institute up. I also blew up the Brotherhood, so, I mean, take that as you will. But I don't know, I just had zero interest in joining them for longer than I had to, like, story-wise. Which you don't, I guess, really need to. I could have done Dance's whole quest line and kept him around, but I don't give a fuck about Dance. He can... Fuck Paladin Dance. He's the most boring goddamn character in the game. But I don't understand why they did some of the things they did. Like, why even add a spouse? Because it doesn't, they give you like 10 minutes with that other character, and you're supposed to have some type of an emotional attachment to them and feel like you should go hunt down their murderer and stuff. Like, but I didn't give a shit about that kid. I didn't give a shit about the spouse. I did not care. I just continued on and fucking took the wedding ring off his body and gave it to Piper. Like, I didn't give a shit about him. And I guess that's where my issue with a lot of the game is. They tried to force, like, these emotional reactions without any type of development beforehand, which led to a lot of it just being really ham-fisted and boring. And I felt things like Kate's questline to be far more emotionally investing than anything in the main story. I did not give a shit. And then after I finished the main story, and yeah, spoilers and shit, after I finished the main story, the way I finished it, I blew up the Institute, and Patriot was super pissed at me, and I got a fucking suicide note from him like I'm supposed to give a shit. Like, I did 2 quests with him. I think I talked to him 3 times. And it's like, I'm supposed to give a shit that he went and killed himself because he was mad I blew up the Institute instead of saving everybody? Like, I don't care. I really just don't. So, I don't know. I feel like they just kind of threw some shit together and said, well, good enough. Instead of really sitting down and writing a good story. Yeah. I have a lot more to say about Fallout, but I could honestly go on for a few hours about Fallout, and I don't want to do that. I will say that the writing picks up substantially in the DLC so far. Automatron, which I will always call it Automatron. I know it's Automatron, but it's Automatron. I found that DLC, the writing, to be far more compelling than the main story. And so far as I'm in before my game broke and I can't play, I really am enjoying the story and the things that they're bringing up in Far Harbor, and I'm really looking forward to Nuka Town. Like they've done, or Nuka World, or whatever it is. They've done really, really great things with the DLC, and it's just, it makes the things that are wrong with the main story even more apparent. And I talked about this on the stream and afterwards a lot. There's a point in the main story where I'm supposed to do something for the Institute, and I was supposed to go to Bunker Hill and go with one of the coursers there and kill all the refugee, or I guess recapture all the refugee synths and stuff, but I was working for the railroad, so I tried to get around doing that, and so I just killed him and did all this other shit. And I got back, and Father is like, no, but you fucked up. Like, no, you did this, and how can we trust you again? Like, you fucked everything, and blah, 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 blah. And then instantly, in the, like, sentence to sentence, goes from, like, a disappointed, angry tone to, we want to bring you in further into what we're doing. Like, it's completely disconnected in between what the actions are and what the story forces. And it's just so fucking terribly done. But, yeah, that's my main issues with... I have a lot more. But the things I liked are, like, the little world-building things. Like, I was walking through a building. I think I talked about this before. I don't remember where. It's just a random fucking building in downtown Boston. And I go inside, and I'm going up the stairs, and I find a skeleton in the corner of a stairwell. And at its, like, in its lap is a fucking, like, hacksaw. And it's missing an arm, and there's handcuffs. Which tells me that, like, after the bombs fell, this person was in handcuffs, probably just being arrested. And then the bombs fell, and they tried to, like, get the handcuffs off, and they cut off their fucking arm. And they ended up bleeding out on the stairs and dying. And it's just like that little story. Or finding there's a raft out in the middle of the ocean if you just head out from the castle. And there's like a raft, and it's tied to some cement beam or something that's out there. And there's a few rafts and stuff like that. And in the corner of one section is just it's a little toy car and some blocks and a photo, like a picture frame, and then some candles. Like, and on this little raft there's like a little garden and some sleeping bags and stuff. But it just tells me that these people had a kid, and that kid died in some manner, and they have a little shrine to that kid. And it's just like, there's so much more storytelling that is so much more compelling just in the placement of items than there is in a lot of the writing in the game. And that is why I think it's the best world they've made and the weakest story they've ever made. But anyway, past that, I played a lot more Final Fantasy before I finally stopped doing that because I can't afford it. And now we go to The big one. Overwatch. Holy shit, Overwatch has taken over my life. It's taken over most of my friends' lives. It's taken over the vast majority of the internet's lives. Overwatch is something special. I don't know why, either. Like, I think I have ideas. Blizzard just has this power to go, we're going to make some really cool characters that you're going to love. Now, you're going to continue loving them while we build up a really kind of thing behind it, you know? Like, there's not really... I mean, the game is... I mean, the characters are what make the game, but the game itself is not really an amazing shooter. It's a well-balanced team shooter. Like, it's not the second coming of fucking Christ. It's not reinventing the fucking genre, but it's still well done and pretty well balanced. I still think there's a couple things that need changed, but it's still very solid as a game, and they're improving and listening very, very closely to the community, which is helpful. But the thing that makes the game at all interesting are the fucking characters. Like, there's a post, and I'm gonna include it in, I'll include it at the end, and put a link back to where it originally came from. But somebody took all of the, like, positive voice clips from the characters, and mashed them into a single, like, file. And all of the characters are so... Like, my favorite character in the game, well, besides Tracer... Okay, I can't even say favorite character because I love most of them. But Lucio is my main. And he is super, 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 super upbeat and happy. Like, all the time. Had a little bit of a blip there, sorry. So I was talking about Lucio. He is incredibly upbeat. Like, because all of them have, like, lines and stuff they say as they come into, as you load into a game and you're standing around waiting for the match to start and stuff like that. And I'll say, like, look at this team. We're gonna do great. And stuff like that. Like, he's so happy and upbeat with everybody, and I really, really, really adore him. And a lot of the characters are like that. Zenyatta, Tracer's always giggling and happy and stuff, and like, there's so many, and it's so bright and colorful. It's a good feeling game. It isn't another drab military shooter. It's fucking just sound guns and freeze rays and rocket pods and a fat man with a hook chain. Like, it's just so good. And it's fun, and I don't most of the time feel bad about, like, I don't feel bad about losing in it. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I get really frustrated with, like, gimmick bullshit and stuff like that. It's just it's just sometimes the gimmick shit's annoying, like when you go against 6 Torbjorns. Yeah. It's really fun, and I just it honestly, during the beta, was helping me mentally. Like, I have other things that help me, like, well, Sam and everything else now, but during the beta, like, it was helping me feel better. Like, it's insane how much a dumb game like that can help. Yeah, I don't know. Overwatch is really good. And now on to the last little thing. Mighty number fucking 9. So I've given this game 3 shots now. Recorded a video on it, and I've played it twice since. Video I was not favorable in any way. In fact, I hated the fucking game. I hate it even more now since attempting to play it 2 more times. The PC version is just broken. I know I'm not the only person. I know a few other people who are having the same issue. If you exit the game, it just doesn't save. I put an hour into it earlier. And it just... I exited the game to go do something else, came back in, I was like, okay, I'll give it another shot. And my save game was gone for a 3rd time, and that's when I quit. Like, I've just uninstalled it now. Because, 1, the game looks like trash. They couldn't even be bothered. Like, graphically, it looks like a PS1 game. Like a late-gen PS1, very early, like, PS2 release title. It does not look good in any way. And they had a build originally way back that had the 2D art style with the sprites that was really, really amazing and looked really, really good. And they just didn't. It's cheaper to do some 3D models without mouth flaps at the very least for lip syncing. The designs are not great in 3D either. Like, the 2D drawings and stuff like that and the original concept designs looked so much better than they did in 3D. I know everybody's brought it up, including myself, but the explosions literally do just look like pizza. The game does not play well. There are better Mega Man games that have been out for longer. Like, why didn't they get Yacht Club to help out with this? Why didn't they get Anna Managuchi to do the soundtrack? You had millions of dollars. Like, fucking... They could have gotten help. They could have done so much more. And it didn't need to be delayed 9 times. I don't understand why it's a thing. Like, I don't... It had... The reason I hate it so much isn't because it's, like, the worst game ever. Because, honestly, it's just mediocre at best. It's shitty at worst, mediocre at best. But the thing that I hate about it, honestly, is the wasted potential and resources. Like, they had $4 million plus. They have an entire team. They had backing from an actual publisher. They had so much going for it, and it is worse than pretty much every other attempt at every other major attempt at this kind of game there has been. It's nothing compared to Shovel Knight. Like, it's a joke compared to Shovel Knight. They really just fucked it up. And I fought the fire boss earlier, and I'm not, like, the best against, like, I'm not the absolute best with Mega Man games, but I've played quite a few. I've played quite a few Mega Man games. I've beaten the original 8 and then also all of the X games through X6. Like, I have played a lot, I've beaten them all, and I'm not the worst, but I'm not the best. They fucked it up. They just fucked it. Like, Jesus. It doesn't play well. There's no indication for things. Like, they don't explain any way in the beginning that if you are going in at at an enemy to pick them up after you've hit them a few times. There's no explanation that you have to dash through them. So when you dash at one, you just touch it and it goes into you. So you think, okay, well, if I shoot them and they're just next to me, I could just jump into them. Nope, it still hurts you. Unless you're dashing. There's no double jump in the beginning. There's no wall jump that I know of. Maybe you get it later, maybe you get a double jump later, but you don't start off with them. Wall jumping, I mean, come on. X, made that a fucking standard. You don't make a Mega Man game without wall jumping now, because it's bullshit if you don't. Wall jumping would have made some bosses actually doable. Like the first boss, the flame boss, I started talking about that fucking thing. The first stupid boss ended up having 3 moves, but they all have the same starting animation. And so he would do a different thing depending on... Apparently I already have that product. He would do a different thing depending on how... It wasn't even depending on anything. I keep saying depending like it's actually designed. But it's just an RNG thing, where there's no pattern. It's just sometimes he will jump during his run at you. Sometimes he won't. Sometimes he will stop directly under you and do a body explosion. They have zero... There was zero planning into that boss. There's no pattern to learn. There's no tell for what's going to happen. It's the exact same thing in terms of the startup animation, and then you just get fucked. And it's super frustrating. It is incredibly frustrating to have happen. Because and he also does like a third of your health on hit. So you fuck up because, I would jump, because you're supposed to jump at the last second to get over what is, I will call, the first move, which is he just keeps running forward, fire explodes behind him, and he does like a shoulder charge at you. So you jump at the last second, and then you dash towards where he came from to get over the fire, which, unless you time it absolutely perfectly, you get caught on the fire. But if he hits you for like a third of your health, and it slams you back into a firewall, which does another chunk out of you. So he'll do that, but sometimes just in the middle of the dash, jump with you and completely fuck your day up. And I don't understand why. And then there's no tell for that. And then sometimes you'll jump over and he'll just stop directly under you and do a body explosion, which does half of your HP. And again, no tell. And there's no way to escape that because he does it directly under you in the middle of your dash. So I just had no way of beating this thing that I could figure out, and it just felt like a fucking RNG that it's well, what am I gonna get? There's no pattern here. I guess I can't learn anything. I just have to hope I get the correct fucking ones in the correct order to win. And it's just super dumb. Just that game. The writing is really bad. The voice acting is really subpar. The entire... It starts off with, it is the present year. Well, what fucking... You mean 2016? Is that what you mean? Because this doesn't look like 2016. I don't understand how things got so fucked up in this game. And it's so goddamn disappointing. And it's upsetting. So yeah, they fucked that game up, and I would not recommend at all ever touching it, because holy shit, it's bad. But outside of that, I haven't really been playing much. I've been playing WildStar again. That's a good game. It really is. I enjoy it. So I will be probably picking that up as my current MMO of choice, because I don't fucking have that many and it's free. Outside of that, no. Nothing else going on. Videos will be picking back up hopefully if Fallout will fix itself. I do have another game that I'm gonna go play. Might go do it right now, because I'm in a recording mood for once. Yeah, outside of that, maybe I'll start talking about game news again. I don't know. I'll see what happens. Maybe I can get a friend or two on this stupid thing. But yeah, have a nice night, everyone. I'll see you.
Oh, this is gonna make you feel better. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Come on, you can do it.
Imbalance. Find peace.
Now, hold on.
From one thing, no 10,000 things.
Come on, everyone, just a little bit longer.
I'll be watching over you. I've got your back.
Just win, baby.
Don't worry, my friends. I will be your shield.
I've got your back.
Beauty can be found where everything is in harmony.
Don't worry. I'll patch you up.
Don't stop now.
You have my attention.
Don't worry, there's still time.
Be sure to stretch before engaging in rigorous physical activity.
Do not be discouraged. Genji is with you.
Don't give up.
You're amazing.
Make every second count.
Hey, come on, keep your head up.
Flow like the river.
Fight's not over yet. All we have to do is win this round.
Time is money, friends.
Remember your training, and we'll get through this just fine.
Anything is possible. Peace be upon you, Kalil.
Hey, you gotta believe.
Stay out of trouble. The universe shall embrace you.
I've got your back.
I believe in you.
I still love you.
Remember,
I'm with you.